Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CC Texas Preparedness series. My name is Robin Mance, and I'm the CC Texas coordinator. Today, we're going to talk about water distillation. This is a process that I've used for quite some time, but recently some issues have come up with our water that's making it more of an urgent issue for everyone to consider this process as well. We do have some other processes that we'll be sharing. We have a member who has worked with filtration through different layers of buckets that mimic the natural process of filtration through the Earth's layers. And we also have a member who has a countertop version. It just depends on how much money you want to spend out of your abundance for your water filtration. This is a pretty important element of your existence, and so we'll get started. So you may have noticed recently that there are 3 times as many of the 5G towers that have gone up. Even when we were in lockdown, they put several more all over the place. But I did notice that they started putting them on our water towers specifically. And we recently received this notice to the left from Stu Peters that says, don't drink city or county water anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, not even filtered from the faucet. Don't let your kids drink from the fountains. Seriously, bottled water only. Well, I take issue with that because there are certain soda manufacturers that make water, and this water burns my throat when I drink it. So we don't necessarily know what process they're using to make the water. And the other issue is that anytime that you purchase purified water, they can actually use human wastewater and purify it to a level of acceptable contaminants and then sell it back to you. So if you drink bottled water, it's usually a good idea just to choose spring water. However, the spring water can now be contaminated as well, because in Texas, we have so many oil rigs and refineries and oil wells. And over to the right, you're going to see a process called fracking illustrated here. And what they do over to the right is they put human wastewater down into the earth, and the wastewater will break up the shale all around near the aquifer. And what it does is it loosens up the veins of oil and allows them to be pumped out with the wastewater where it can be separated from the water. And the picture down below illustrates what the wastewater looks like once they pump it back out, and then they can extract the oil from it. And what's left is these cesspools of wastewater. So I don't know, maybe they're purifying it and giving it back to us to drink. Who knows? So this is the method that I've been using for quite some time. And there's a few initially more expensive elements to buy, just a couple of pieces of equipment. And then some of these other pieces will last you for quite some time, such as the citric acid and the charcoal filters and the bags. So it's just that initial investment. And then after that, it's just maintenance costs. But we'll go over that in just a moment. So what I'd like to show you initially is a little bit about Dr. Masaru Emoto. And his work illustrated how water has a consciousness, and he proved it scientifically. And this is a really great legacy that he left for humanity that we can share with our neighbors and our children. This would be a great project for you to do with your children, to show them the power of our intention and our words on anything with a consciousness, which, as we know, is everything. But specifically, water is a conduit for our intentions and our energies. So what I do, I used to bless the water every single time I would put it into the filter. But then I got a download that says, well, why don't you just bless the container, and then everything that goes into it is blessed. So what I do is I pray over my equipment. I set my intentions to bless the water to nourish my body. Then what I do is I pour tap water into the Brita pitcher. Now in the top of the pitcher, I put in crystals such as quartz, rose quartz, that kind of thing. And you can set your intention, program the crystals as well. So that's a pretty fun thing that you can do with your children. Just show them how to bless the crystals and how to reset them. You could find those online. Then after I filter the water, I pour it in the distiller, and there's a little container that comes with it. After it's distilled, I pour it in a BPA-free plastic bag, or I pour it in a glass container and I store those. So every time when I use the water that I've distilled, I actually add minerals back into it. If you drink pure distilled water all the time, it can leach things out of your body, like nutrients that you need. It also leaches out things that you don't need. It'll pull toxins out of your body. So distilled water can be great, but just like everything, you want to make sure that you have balance. So you add the minerals back in. And a bonus is that you can add in pH drops as you consume the water, and it gives it an alkalinity that's good for your body, because disease cannot exist in an alkaline environment. So the Brita pitcher that I have that sits on the counter is $32. Certainly you can get a reverse osmosis filter that's a lot more expensive, or any other kind of filter. Then there are the water filter replacements. Those are about $14 for a 3-pack. And then the 4 milliliter, is it milliliter? Distiller, anyway, the distiller, which comes with a container to pour the water in there, is $125. And then the citric acid bag, which is 5 pounds, non-GMO, is $24, and that'll last you a long time. And what I do is every time after I use the distiller, I put a little bit of citric acid and warm water in there and let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. It breaks it all up, all of the calcium and minerals deposits and that kind of thing. It breaks it up, and then I use a little soap and water and clean it out. You don't want to scratch the inside of your distiller, because then it gets harder to clean over time. The other thing that I have are collapsible water tank bags that are BPA free. They store nicely. You can reuse them. They're very sturdy, and there's about 3 in a package. So I actually got 9 to 12 of them, and I store them in my house. So the other thing I got is a container of minerals, and then the pH drops, and about total it's about $259. And the other thing that you can do is, this is what I talked about previously, is pray to bless your equipment or your water. And I say this prayer: angels and guides, please bless this container so that all water flowing through it has the smallest molecules for the most effective hydration of my body. I ask for love and grace to flow from this water to uplift my physical vessel and release everything that no longer serves my highest and best outcome in this incarnation. So all of this is just $259. It is an initial investment, and then you have the upkeep costs, which are not much at all, certainly less than buying bottled water. And blessing your water, that's priceless. So the reason we tell you this, all of this information, is because we want you to be prepared in the state of Texas. If we have a situation where we're not able to get some supplies, we have an emergency, anything that happens, we will not be in fear. We'll be prepared, because fear is the absence of faith. So no fear, Texas. And if you have any questions, or you would like to contribute a micro learning like this, please reach out to myself or Shanna Gooden and let us know what topic you have, and we will help you get set up to create a video, and we'll post it for all of Texas. So we look forward to hearing from you, and God bless Texas.